got it better than us. Nobody.
We want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, and intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it so personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes to me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop, bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell. Ding, motherfucking dog.
Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sainristil going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sainristil continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it.
It's there! Hardman! Jackpot, Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back. Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows. So
hello, everyone. Huddle Up Podcast. It is Tuesday, November 26, 2024. We're glad to be back with you for another one. As we've made it to Thanksgiving week, we hope that you are doing well and preparing for the holiday. Remember, you can follow along with the show on all of our social media and channels. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We are on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. You can get us on all podcast platforms, rate, review where you can. You can grab our merchandise over on the TeePublic store. You can get that link directly from our link tree on all of our social channels. I know right now they are getting ready for the holiday sales with a up to 40% off all merchandise this week. So make sure you head over there and grab your merch for the holiday season and support the show. We would certainly appreciate that. So we have no Kyle this week. EJ may be, if he finds a safe place to park the van, may be joining us here. But we'll start. We'll go around the room. Mikey B, how are we doing this week?
We're real good. Real good. I'd like to formally announce my lock it up being 1-0 last week because Ole Miss sucks.
Yes, that is a thing. Matt, how are we doing this week?
We are doing well. It was a solid football weekend in this household once again. Big wins for Notre Dame and for the Eagles. So good stuff.
There you go. I had one good game this weekend because the Cowboys, well, they won. Sean, how are we doing this week?
Well, with the exception of that, pretty good. I think it's been we got that. We've been riding a cold here into the Thanksgiving break, but school's out, so got the week off. You get to spend some time with the kids, and by spend time with the kids, I mean continue to clean up the mess that has been left by a couple of storms. But we're still going to work on that, and yeah, fortunately, I didn't catch what EJ has because I haven't been making a million predictions just to say I called it first, and I haven't felt any love for the Browns. I was worried that was going to come into play. So, good news is whatever he has is his and not mine.
He can keep it. Devin checking in with us, who wishes us a happy Thanksgiving Eve. So
You too, man.
what's going on, Devin? Appreciate that, bud, as always. All right, let's dive in though and look back before we look forward. As we do each and every week here, we look back at the weekend that was and we find out what we learned from this past weekend. Matt, we'll start with you this week. What did you learn this past weekend?
That college football is still drunk. They are riding a 12-week bender, and they are showing no signs of changing anything. I mean, we had how many upsets, how many top 10 losses that we shouldn't have seen, and the one that we all knew was coming. Hello, Indiana. But I think that we've just seen that the parity continues to shine through now as we are in the era of paying our players, as we rightly should be doing.
Yeah, and I'll hit the clap.
Rightly so.
To that one, but yeah, I think the kind of the real theme, and we'll obviously talk about more of this when we get into reacting to this week's playoff rankings, which again, the chaos. But the thing that a lot of like college football purists leading into this year was like, oh, the portal and paying players and 12-team playoff is going to water down the sport, and these games aren't going to matter, and it's going to make. I think this has been one of the most fun years of college football that I can remember in a very long time. So, yeah, we'll certainly talk about the ramifications of what happened this past weekend. But yeah,
if college football is that drunk, how do you think they're doing sports betting?
Don't ask me. I've been on a bad run.
Join the crowd, bud.
Poor run of bad luck as of late. Like this week, I tried and obviously NFL different than college, but I tried to go let's do some like safe bets to just get like instead of trying to do like the $2 parlay that pays like $25. Let me just do like a $1.25 one that pays like $9. Like let me just build a little bit of that capital back up.
You can't do it.
Nope, absolutely not. Nothing.
No, Vegas has everybody right where they want them because everybody's panicking, everybody's reeling. They're going to make some bad plays. Throw that one inflator into their parlay that destroys the whole thing.
Yeah, just sucks.
Yeah.
So goddamn rude.
Sean, what did you learn this past weekend?
What did I learn? Well, I don't know that it's anything super new, but there's a 1A and a 1B. I learned that as far as everybody that talks about the quarterback only MVP award, Saquon Barkley taught me that he's got something to say about that. Saquon Barkley with arguably the performance of his life. And yeah, I mean, I think that's something we learned is that Saquon Barkley is going to be a name in this discussion for the rest of the year. The other thing that I learned, and I hope that some other people learned, is the effect that Saquon Barkley being effective and the running game being effective has on everything Eagles related, from Jalen Hurts staying calm, throwing balls away, not throwing into as much traffic, from the sidelines looking calmer, from players looking rested. I feel like just in general, like some of the panic buttons that I was not pushing, but like opening the glass door over earlier in the year. First of all, the coaching, especially early in the games, has been better. But what I noticed was a calmer Jalen Hurts. And the big thing Saquon doing well does is it keeps the media out of Jalen Hurts' face. And I think that helps Jalen a lot because everybody wants to talk to Saquon. They want to talk about the potential MVP run. They want to talk. I don't think Saquon cares about any of that. I mean, sure, he'd like to have one. But I think, man, 2 yards before getting touched, a full yard or more ahead of where he was last year. I think he'll take that all day, awards or no awards. So I think the running game's alive in Philadelphia, and the NFC East looks like it's just opening up for him. So,
NFC East race.
It's a whole bunch of things that revolve around Saquon Barkley, and anybody who thought he was overpaid going into the year, suck it.
Sports media talking about it the last couple of days that moved this because it wasn't. I don't think he was even third like immediately after the game, but he is now third in the odds. Allen still 1, Lamar 2, Saquon 3, Jared Goff 4, Mahomes a distant 5. Distant.
Jared Goff at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, you would need. I mean,
I think it's just recognizing how good the Lions are. Like that's
you would need
the
the Bills and Ravens to tank pretty hard to move him up.
Here's
the thing. I think
too.
Jared Goff is more important to the Lions than people give him credit for because given with the exception of one game where he threw more interceptions in that game and they still won than he did the whole rest of the season. That guy just doesn't turn the ball over. Like, give me that every day.
He's had more games with like under 4 incompletions than I think quarterbacks have had in their career this year.
Yeah, he's insanely efficient. I don't. Here's the thing. He won't win it, but I don't think it's that far of a stretch that he's.
No, that offense plays to his strengths, and like they're not asking him to do much more than that. And to be honest, he doesn't have to. But when that's what you're asked to do, there's some quarterbacks that still can't do it.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, Saquon's sitting at 2 because I think Lamar Jackson lost that award when he couldn't beat a team that didn't score an offensive touchdown in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like when your defense holds a team to a handful of field goals, though that is still 20. I get it. It's still 20 points. I get it.
Yeah, I kind of disagree on that because again,
but I think you got to outscore him if you're the MVP.
That's just the silly nature of that rivalry. You still have another game against them. Plus, you have a big game against Philly this weekend where you can show up.
That would help. Yes.
All right, Mikey B, what'd you learn this weekend?
What I learned this weekend is that it's finally time to stop talking about Patrick Mahomes III being this guy who find a way to win football games, and let's start giving credit to that defense because that defense is the reason why he has found a way to quote win football games for them and put himself in the top 5 of the MVP and do the things that Patrick Mahomes does. Because here's the reality of the situation: not great, Bob, against the fucking Carolina Panthers.
Nope.
Yeah, not. Yeah, that's an understatement of the year.
Coming off of him not looking that great on the road in Buffalo either. Maybe we need to have a conversation of the defense and Andy Reid's play calling and schemes and things along those lines are the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions and the reason why they're a team that's in contention to win the AFC this year. I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes. He's a good quarterback. He's definitely deserves to be in the top 5 of the MVP because I don't know that the Kansas City Chiefs would be as good without him. But I think if they had Jared Goff, if they had Lamar Jackson, if they had Josh Allen, if they had a serviceable quarterback with as good as that defense is, they would still be a playoff team.
Yeah.
2024 Patrick Mahomes is not the same person that he was in the last 2 seasons where it just felt like every time they needed the big drive, it always happened. Yeah. The Buffalo game, the big drive had to happen. What did he do? He threw an interception. Now
I'm with you, Mike. I just lit somebody up online today for the same thing.
I know. I saw your comment on Ernest's post. It's what brought me to this.
It was.
I wanted to talk about it more, but I didn't want to say it in text because I was also driving home from picking Jackson up from school while I was reading it, and I was just like,
where he's like, it's about more than just stats. I'm like, well, you're right. It is about more than just stats because like the issue is that in years past. The offense and Pat Mahomes, the years where he was an MVP candidate and probably rightly so, he was putting that defense in a good situation. It was still a great defense. Mm-hmm. But when that defense all of a sudden is facing a one-dimensional offense and has a 14-point lead in the third quarter and is able to kind of sit back and know what you're doing, makes it a lot easier. And that makes you the piece. And I'll give it to him. He's finding ways to win games late. But right now, he's leaning on that defense. He's putting more pressure on that defense. And to this point, they've responded. But, one rough injury, you have the Lions have had several and have managed to survive that and don't look much different. But I feel like the Chiefs probably can't survive that many if Mahomes is going to keep playing this way. And it's just that slight separation, not in numbers, but just in the ability to kind of dominate the talk of your town and dominate the general flow of a game that he doesn't seem to have right now.
Yeah, I mean, here's a case, and to student the game credit, over the course of the year, he's been talking about the Chiefs really kind of being a defense first team. So case in point, you look at the Lions a couple weeks ago, they lost Aiden Hutchinson for the season. And their defense really hasn't missed a beat. Still playing extremely well. They lost another piece last week. Still playing extremely well.
Both at outside linebacker.
Yeah. Well, Aiden's a defensive end, but yeah, you're outside pass rusher.
Right.
Chris Jones is the equivalent in Kansas City.
Yeah.
You take Chris Jones out of the Kansas City Chiefs, that is a dramatically different defense. I'm not saying that they're going to completely fall off the cliff, but I don't know that the Chiefs can recover. He is the Chiefs MVP.
Right
Mahomes,
now, yeah,
Mahomes is great. Nobody's going to tell anybody differently that Mahomes isn't great, but yeah, they are a defense first team. Their defense is the reason that they won a lot of these tight games. If they didn't have that unit playing the way it is, that they are not a 9-1 team.
If you look at the Chiefs' schedule, one team has scored 27 or more points. It was the Carolina Panthers this week.
That's crazy. That's
but
crazy.
Mahomes has 3 games where he hasn't thrown for over 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Patrick Mahomes. And I get it. For a while, the cute conversation was he's throwing to Juju and Xavier Worthy. They went and traded for D-Hop. D-Hop hasn't been his leading receiver in any game that he's played in.
Nope.
They have 5 of their games they've won by less than 5 points.
Yes.
That's defense.
100%.
That's defense, folks. Like, and outside of that, there's 3 or 4 other games where it's been 7 points or less.
Yeah. Well, and Andy Reid helps in a close game in the second half. There's not a coach in the league I want more than Andy Reid on my sideline. So that helps a ton. And some of those, quote, big plays to win tight games have as much to do with Andy as they do with the man throwing it. But, yeah, I mean, it just hasn't been a standard Chiefs year by any means.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing I learned, besides the Dallas Cowboys not even understanding how to tank properly, is that there's only 3 or 4, at most 5 teams that I think
All right, EJ.
Well, no, like if I'm actually putting the market at 4. If you want to make an argument for a 5th team, there's only 4 teams that I think that I'm confident can actually win through the college football playoff and win a national championship. The rest, I mean, there's teams that will maybe pull an upset in the first round. We'll talk about the rankings and where the current projected bracket looks here in a minute. But like there's 4 teams at most that I'm actually confident sitting here that can actually win through the entire bracket. That I could sit here and see the path. Yep, this team could go all the way. This team could pull off the win in the biggest matchup in the semifinals and or the finals. Because like I said, there's teams that may win in the first round, but I don't see them capable of carrying it the whole way.
Yeah, there's some teams that you're like, well, if they had a good 1-2 game, lineup, they could get to the third round. That doesn't mean that they're
right.
That they belong there. It's
right.
Just, but yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think you're seeing in college football a lot. I alluded to it in the NFL last week. Where that cream is starting to rise, and you're starting to see some weaknesses, and you're starting to see some flaws. And I don't know, maybe NCAA is drunk, man. I don't know, but whatever the case, I think you're right. The only teams playing sober and the only teams ready to fly, probably count on one hand.
But yeah, why don't we just, since we kind of hit a transition point, let's talk about the college football playoff rankings, and here are this week's rankings. And no, we didn't start the show late because of the rankings. We started it because the computer that launches the show didn't want to cooperate. It just so happened that in that time we were able to get this week's rankings. fresh off the plate. So your first and second teams out are Clemson and Alabama. Currently sitting 12, your projected Big 12 champion would be Arizona State, coming off their win over BYU, as chaotic as that was. In those in the closing minutes, and fans storming the field and having to get the fans back off the field. And but Arizona State, now your projected Big 12 champion. Boise State, the Mountain West, they would be your Group 5 champion into the playoff bracket. They are 11, Georgia 10, SMU 9, Tennessee 8, Georgia 7, Miami 6, Notre Dame 5, Penn State 4, Texas 3, Ohio State 2, and Oregon still sitting at number 1. So as you can see on the bracket there, your first round buys are Oregon, Miami, Texas, and Boise State. Your first round matchups would be Arizona State at Ohio State, Tennessee at Georgia, Indiana at Penn State, SMU at Notre Dame. So, Mike, I'll start with you when we look at this, and we'll kind of go through the routine we did last week. Is there anything glaringly bad? Anything, or what? How do you think the committee did this week?
Arguably, I think it's the best job they've done so far. At least in my mind, I still think there are some questions. Penn State at 4, but when everybody below them keeps losing, it's kind of hard to move them any. Goddamn Minnesota.
Yeah,
Minnesota.
But you look at it.
You had it all and you blew it.
I don't necessarily like. I do think Boise State should be ahead of Indiana. I get it. Indiana can't control that teams in the Big Ten that they're playing are bad. But they had an opportunity to at least keep that game close and kind of make a statement. And they kind of fizzled out, which is, unfortunate, because I was kind of hoping that game would stay close. And I know Boise State hasn't looked great against a couple of unranked Mountain West teams. But it's also one of those things where Oregon beating Boise State early in the year, it just feels like it's one of those things where that loss feels better to me for Boise State. I will say I'm very glad at the fact that we're looking at this and we're penalizing the SEC for their interconference losses that they've had, and that we don't randomly have more than one 3-loss SEC team on the doorstep waiting for turmoil to ensue.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, I mean, Alabama is right there. Should Indiana somehow trip up this week against Purdue? Should SMU trip up this week? In their final game against Cal? We say impossible, as this college season has proven nothing really impossible, but very unlikely as we're going into the final week of the season. Matt, thoughts on this week's rankings?
Penn State continues to be too high. I'll say that every week until they're finally punished for being an overrated team. But at the same time, we will see what happens come playoffs. If they do get Indiana, then they'll probably win, because both of those teams are highly overrated. It'll just be which one of these mediocre teams is a little bit less mediocre today. And it'll probably be Penn State, but who knows? Because James Franklin is another guy that
that's
can't
a big
win
game.
the big game. So we will see. Maybe he will channel his inner big game Brian and do his best
Family.
and lose by 27.
Yeah, Sean, how about you? The thoughts on this week's rankings?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do with Penn State, kind of like Mikey alluded to. So, I mean, I think as a whole, scares the crap out of me. Clemson's creeping up that close, but, not from a fear standpoint, just from a, God, why would the NCAA do that to themselves? But, I mean, should this, be the final standings, which obviously things are going to shuffle quite a bit. I think it's a pretty fun set of matchups. In my opinion, I mean, boy, would Ohio State have a road. It'd be pretty much ideal for them. But I think your other three matchups in the first round there they line up pretty good. And I think the NCAA is still going to try their best to do that. I always kind of felt that the top 4 rankings, you'd be like, why is that team 2 and that team? Because it's better TV. Like that, there's always like, we want the matchups to be good. We want to sell that we know what we're doing. It's a little harder with 12, but I think you're going to see a lot of those 8, 9, 7, 10 matchups. They're going to try to put teams. It might seem a little weird until you see who they're playing, but the history of SMU Notre Dame there, the kind of 2 10-1 teams that probably shouldn't be there from the Big Ten. That's just kind of cute. And then an SEC matchup to boot. I think that would all be fun, especially if it's SEC traveling to take on, I don't know, the Big Ten champ. That's kind of fun. But otherwise, I got no qualms. I think this is fine. It's obviously going to shape out, and I just don't want anything weird to happen. I would rather this hold. like than some nonsense team, but I know it's going to happen. There's a lot of football to be played.
Yeah, because so as of right now, the projected
don't put Bama back in.
They're going to do their best.
And I because there's a window there. There's a window there for it because right now, the wildest part is because the projected, I think the projected ACC championship would be Miami and SMU.
If Miami defeats Syracuse, that is the ACC title game. SMU is already locked in because they went undefeated in ACC play. If Miami loses to Syracuse, then Clemson is in.
Clemson gets in. And then your Big Ten title game is going to be Oregon versus likely Ohio State. If Ohio State trips up this weekend, we're going to predict that game in a minute. But then you'd be looking at Oregon versus Penn State, I believe, in the Big Ten title game.
And if
not Indiana.
Well, no,
Indiana is sitting third right now, so it would be Indiana. You're right. So it would be Oregon versus Indiana. But then Indiana, SMU loses again, they're going to fall out. If Indiana lose again, they're going to fall out.
Can't lose. SMU,
like there's those those roads there for Clemson, for Alabama, to creep back up in.
All right, quick poll. You got to pick one. One of those two teams that's out gets in. Do you want Dabo and Clemson, or do you want a 3-loss Alabama team?
Ew, gross.
You have to watch one of them in the first round.
Dabo and Clemson.
Yeah. Give me Dabo because I'm going to take more enjoyment in them losing.
That's fair.
like now that Nick Saban's not there, I don't have quite as much not that
Correct.
I'm I'm not unhappy when Alabama loses, but I'll be happier if Dabo loses.
Yeah, I mean, I think I take Clemson just solely based on the fact that they only have the 2 losses. I mean, I'm at the point here where, they're going to get back into this. One of those 2 teams is going to make the 12 because SMU is going to play Miami. One of them is going to lose the ACC title game.
But are they going to get punished for that? I mean, we've talked about that. Like, can you really punish an SMU for making it to the title game and losing?
I mean, you
they will.
You?
Right.
I guess it depends how close.
I mean, because at this point, if they lose and Clemson gets in, you're still taking an ACC team. If you're punishing SMU and then having Alabama jump Clemson, even though neither of them lose, then we can just hit the SEC homer button that Jim has programmed on the board, and we can just we'll understand where we stand with these college football rankings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't punish SMU. I don't think they should punish SMU. I don't think they should punish Miami.
Slide. I mean, what was that 4 or 5 places?
I mean, it's not going to
somebody
matter.
Behind him would have to show something great. right? I mean, it would have to be something really magical behind him.
Okay,
but also in the scenarios of SMU like losing, that would also mean Boise State winning their conference title game that same weekend, Arizona State winning their conference title game. Right. So you're going to have to at least slip SMU. Probably, I mean, Indiana's likely going to be stagnant that weekend. I not to foreshadow too much to our predictions, but I don't envision a scenario Indiana getting into the Big Ten title game. So like Indiana's going to be stagnant that weekend. You're going to have two teams behind them that are going to win. So you at least have to slip them to that number 12 spot, and then you start playing. You right, wrong, or indifferent, the committee is going to play that money game because right now, as we're looking at this bracket, you have Georgia, Tennessee, SEC matchup in the first round. Penn State, Indiana, that's a Big Ten matchup in the first round. Then it doesn't matter who Notre Dame and Ohio State's playing because they're hosting a playoff game in December. The playoff game at the Shoe, the playoff game at Notre Dame Stadium. Those games get money in and of themselves.
Literally, yeah, you could have anybody walk into that game.
However, if you're telling me there's an opportunity to put Ohio State versus Dabo, Ryan Day versus Dabo in that opening round game, or Ryan Day and Ohio State versus Alabama in that opening round game, you're telling me the committee's not going to go, well, there's more money in that game. Like, you know what I mean?
Have a chance, I guess.
10-2 SMU with their best win being probably Pitt, and what could end up being a really bad loss to a BYU team who the bottom has dropped out on, and potentially if they get blown out by Miami, a team that also lost to Georgia Tech, and then you're sitting here telling yourself, well, Alabama did beat Georgia, who's a playoff team.
Alabama!
They did only lose to 7 to Tennessee, who's a playoff team.
Right?
Like, you can sit here and be like, okay, they have a bad loss. Oklahoma lost this week. Dog water. They look.
That should have penalized them a lot more than like the fact that they're the second team out after losing 24-3.
It stinks out loud.
Oklahoma, a school known for their defensive prowess.
But the committee is going to sit here and tell you they beat a ranked Georgia team, they beat a ranked Missouri team, they beat a ranked LSU team. At the end of the day, they're going to sit here. They're going to try to wedge them into this thing no matter what.
For sure.
Honestly, perfect world. Clemson, South Carolina play this weekend. I know we're picking that game in a minute.
Yep.
The only way to really lock Alabama out of this thing is Clemson wins this weekend.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard to beat another team that's idle and jump them when they didn't do anything to fall.
Well, it's easy to say that if SMU doesn't win the title game, if they're there, that they might fall out. But my question is, if SMU beat Miami, does Miami fall the same?
I think they fall 4 or 5 spots.
Yeah, I don't think they drop out.
Sean, your microphone either got disconnected or got muted because you were talking and it stopped.
Oh, no.
I saw your lips moving, and I'm like, wait, I'm not hearing a word he's saying. I'm hearing Matt right now.
That's what most of my students do when I talk. So.
I mean,
I don't think Miami falls all the way out. I think it would have to be like
is their resume that much better, or is it a money thing?
I think they're just too high.
A little bit of money, a little bit too high. I mean, I think SMU would have to
7 spots.
I think SMU would have to beat them like 52-3 or something
to knock them down,
like to knock them down and knock them out.
I'd like to see SMU in, so I'm pulling for SMU to hang on.
What is Miami's signature win? Is it Louisville?
That's my question.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean they don't have a great resume, but again, it's this season's kind of been the tale of what happens behind teams, because like in any other year, I don't think Miami's as high as they are, given what they.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to figure out the difference between Miami and SMU, other than like a Heisman Trophy contender and a big alumni draw behind them. I don't see a huge.
That's about it.
I mean, the big difference is the fact that and again, Jim hates these, but I'm going to use it as my reference point. The preseason ranking had Miami a lot higher than it did SMU.
Yeah,
and they haven't had the free fall.
But look at the paper and go, wow, Miami's definitely better than Georgia and Tennessee, but SMU, we're not sure. Like that's just,
Right.
I don't really
that's
see
why
it.
we're in the spot we're in with
Right.
Penn State. I mean,
Well, I mean, it also doesn't help that again, SMU losing a game in September/early October, they've been clawing their way back into the
Right.
top 12. Miami's lost. They were like the number 4 team in the nation. And now everybody that was in between where they were at and at 8 are now losing football games.
yeah.
So they're just
Like they're gonna end up lucking
they're
out
just
of
on
the
an
fact,
escalator ride. They're just
gonna luck out in the fact that they're too high to fall all the way out.
Yeah. And like
If
Penn
they
State,
lose, put them at 10.
yeah. And like Penn State was 8 in the preseason ranking. That's why they're number 4. They were too high to start.
they're riding the same escalator Miami is.
Yeah, and because every year they play two hard games, 1 or 2 hard games, and they lose them. So they're always a 10-2 team.
Franklin just won't Franklin this year.
In the regular season, they because of the way things have shaken out, they get a relatively easy bowl game. They win that, they become a 11-2 team, and lather, rinse, repeat every year. So, and we're about to be in that boat again. Unless Maryland can come through and do the
God, I
Lord's
hope they
work.
draw. I hope they draw someone great.
For
I hope they get a Georgia or something like this
for all of it, and that kind of stuff's still in play too, because
get somebody in there that'll just kill them.
Well, I mean, we're living in a world where if Texas loses the SEC title game to Georgia, because that's who they're probably going to play, Georgia goes to probably the 2.
Yeah,
Georgia would become the
Georgia
2.
goes to the 2. Texas is going to be the 5 or maybe the 6. Like they're not going to drop them to 7, 8, or 9. So Penn State's going to have to take a step back there.
Yeah.
Like even if Georgia, I think, loses to Texas in that title game, I don't think they drop that far. I still think Georgia potentially hosts a playoff game losing to Texas.
Penn State will get Alabama.
Yeah. So I mean, there's still going to be movement there. Still a couple of bigger games this weekend that could
fun couple of weeks
shake things up again as it's done. So, but yeah, I think
bang bang boom.
Like I think just where we're at. Oh, Joe answered the question. He said the answer is neither, but he would pick Dabo as well. I think it's where we're all at.
I'm with you guys.
But yeah, you can kind of see the rest of the shakeup. BYU with the big drop, Texas A&M with a big drop, Colorado with a big drop. Teams that really kind of had opportunities to cement themselves into
hang in Colorado there. Just stay in
conference title. Of course they do.
Stay in the top 25.
Can Colorado get to the Big 12 title game now or no?
Let me
like
check.
I don't actually know if there's a way for them to get to the Big 12 title game, but like
I mean, so let's see. Arizona State, BYU, and Iowa State are all still above them. Arizona State plays Arizona this weekend. BYU has Houston, and Iowa State has Kansas State. So I think you would need 2 out of those 3.
So they would need Arizona and Kansas State basically to win.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't think Arizona is winning.
I don't think so either.
Kansas State maybe, but Arizona no.
Yeah, Kansas State beating Iowa State maybe, but when you need 2 out of those 3 to and then you have to I'm not Colorado.
They play Oklahoma State on Friday afternoon at noon.
Okay. So like Colorado has to win. Like they're in a absolute without a doubt must win situation.
So they're in a win and let's see what happens kind of
they're in a win and pray. Really, because you need a hell of a lot of help, and I don't.
They're really rooting for Kansas State and Houston.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Arizona can beat Arizona State. So
no, you need 2 out of 3 to lose. But.
Come on, BYU, find a way to win a game.
Like just do it. But any other thoughts, rankings wise, going into the final week of the regular season?
No, I think college football is kind of, even though it's drunk, I think it's kind of mapped itself out to where like we know where we stand, and I think we're the teams that are going to get in are the teams that probably should get in.
It's a stable drunk.
Yeah, Well, when you've been drunk for like
I've
10
always
weeks,
considered myself a very
when
stable
you've been drunk for 10 weeks straight, it's easy to just kind of maintain that
Great
level.
pacing. Great pacing.
So good job to college football. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's kick off what is the final week of the regular season in college football, week 14. Typically rivalry weekend, and some of those games have fallen by the wayside a bit because of scheduling and bigger conferences and whatnot. But some of those games still remain. But week 14 it is, and we will start this Black Friday. 5-6 Oregon State, they travel to number 11 Boise State, who is 10-1, a 20-point home favorite. Your over-under on this one is 57. This one noontime on Fox on Friday. Mikey B, we'll start with you.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash has Oregon State and the under. Toolshed has Boise State in the over. I can't believe I'm going to agree with him for once this week. Give me Ashton Genty and the over.
All right. Very good. Matt?
Yeah, I was looking to see. I mean, Oregon State's not really keeping too many games close aside from Washington State, which cool.
Pac-2, baby.
Give me Boise State. Definitely taking the over on this.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, everybody seems to like that over. I got to go Boise here too. I 20 points is a lot, but Oregon State's not good. I'm going to take Boise there, but I guess to cover 20.
Great, Bob.
I guess to cover 20, the odds are it's going to just push that over, so I'll go ahead and take it. I don't like that we're all taking the same thing.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit nervous, especially
Vegas loves it. Vegas is like, yeah, go with them.
Yeah, just do it. Go ahead.
Go with them. They're all good bettors. They're doing good.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Oregon State might scare Boise for like the first 10 minutes, but I think the Broncos
You mean annoy them. They're not going to scare.
Gonna take.
And that's a scared. It's just this is annoying.
They're gonna take over. Give me Boise State plus, and I will also take the over as well. All right, next one. We move to noon on Saturday, the 30th of November, the last day of the month of November. This one on ESPN is number 15, South Carolina. They are 8-3. They travel to number 12, Clemson, who is 9-2, a 2.5-point home favorite. Your over/under on this one is 49. Mikey B.
I can't believe I live in a world where I'm going to say this out loud. Give me the Cox in the over.
My.
Kyle and Ernest both have Clemson and the under.
All right, Matt.
I will also take the Cox. I will take the under on this one. I think if South Carolina is going to win, they're going to stop Clemson's offense.
All right, very good. Sean?
Yeah, I have to say the Cox because otherwise I have to say USC.
Don't
do
that.
Terrible. I can't pick that. Although ironically, I started wanting to pick the other way when Mikey told me that it would keep Alabama out of Clemson wins. But I guess it's win-win then. Either I get to see what I want and what I think is going to happen, which I think South Carolina, especially with that 2.5 points, I feel like there's a chance that getting that 2.5 is going to be helpful. So I'm going to take South Carolina, but I'm with Matt on this. I immediately thought for me to pull that off, I'm going to need the under to do it. So I'll take that.
Here's the thing about this game is I feel like there's a win-win either way, right? Because if South Carolina wins, you get Clemson out of there. They're out of the playoff picture.
Right.
Dabo gets to cry like a bitch and go away.
He's gonna do that anyway.
If Clemson wins, it keeps South Carolina, an SEC team, away from the playoff. Right. It also probably locks out Alabama, an SEC team, out of play. So, like,
Alabama,
an ACC team.
Any way
winning.
this gets Penn State out? Is there any way?
No, I don't think.
No.
I mean, I think either way, this probably locks out Bama, right? Like if South Carolina wins, they would probably.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That South Carolina could essentially vault.
But I don't know, Matt. If South Carolina wins, that makes the SEC look stronger, and that's going to make the committees argument for Alabama.
That helps Alabama's strength of schedule.
They're like, look, we played in that SEC. We got to put Alabama in.
Plus, Alabama's playing Auburn, who just won a big game, so they're going to be like, "Oh, see how good they were.
See how good Auburn is.
The grit that they needed to."
Really,
win.
we're rooting for Auburn this weekend as well.
Yeah, we really are.
But as much as it actually like makes me want to throw up to say it, I think Clemson does win this game. I will take South Carolina to cover.
Oh no, Alabama beat South Carolina by 2. Yeah, they're not going to jump Alabama. No shot.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe they'll both get in if South Carolina wins. Right? Get SEC teams out of my playoff. Clemson wins. I will take the over in this one. Joe has South Carolina in the under. Next one we go to Saturday, big noon on Fox. It is 6-5 Michigan. They take a 3-game winning streak against the Buckeyes into Columbus. The number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes 10-1, a 21-point favorite in this one. And to tell you what Vegas thinks about this game, you're over under 43.5.
What is happening with that?
Mikey B.
What do you think the score is going to be?
43 to 9.
Put it at 21, and then 40 to 7.
3 Ohio State final, baby.
They're giving Ohio State half the points.
It's insane. I saw the same thing. I was like, "What is this?"
No, that's real. That's real.
God,
this can't be right.
This sucks out loud.
Yeah, it does.
This line sucks out loud. This over-under sucks out loud.
Sportsbook at MGM's watching our podcast going, wait, they're right.
Sucks.
What the heck did we do?
Here, note to anyone who's listening to the show, don't bet this game.
Yeah, don't
touch it.
Don't touch the over. Don't touch the game. Don't touch the money line. Don't
do it.
In fact, if you're still thinking about betting it, just don't watch it. Don't even turn it on.
Right.
So that being said, I'm going to be a smart ass here.
You're better than this.
I'm going to take Michigan and the under because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Kyle has Michigan in the over. Ernest has Ohio State in the over. Jesus Christ.
Matt.
I don't know that Michigan is going to lose by that much. I'd be happy if they do. It is what it is. Sorry, Jim. I know that.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
Fandom there. I honestly don't like either of these teams that much. But I know more annoying Ohio State fans than I know annoying Michigan fans.
That's the key.
So give me Michigan. Give me a slight in honor of EJ, who calls me out all the time and hasn't shown up in 3 weeks. Go fuck yourself, dude.
He was here last week, but ironically, with that voice,
he was growling a lot.
Slight over on this one. A slight over.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, the only if you're gonna pick one thing, just hope that Michigan covers that massive amount of points, that they show up for the first. It's 3-game winning streak, and you're looking at 21-point spread. I got to think that for the rivalry game, Michigan's going to at least try to cover that 21 points. So I'm going to take Michigan to cover 21. That over-under, I'm with Mike. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go with Mike on this, and I'm going to take the under with Michigan. And just hope that that's what – because if it goes over, it's because Ohio State's killing.
Oh, yeah.
So I need the under with that.
And over is
I need to start hedging my bets, though. I need to be like, I'm going to take Michigan. But because I'm probably wrong, I'll take the over. I need to start doing that because I keep losing double doses of, trying to support my bets here. But, yeah, I'll go with the usual, and I'll take 2 losses here, Michigan and the under.
Well, what is the I wonder what just the odds for Michigan to pull the upset are.
Plus
Michigan
900?
the money line?
Plus 900 for money line?
I don't know. I'm throwing a dart at the wall. I don't even know. I haven't looked at it.
Probably higher than that.
Let's see if I can find it here.
For a 21-point spread?
Hard Rock app.
Plus 950 on draft.
Wow.
That was a good guess.
Throw a dart at the wall, baby.
There you go.
Well, now you got to bet it.
So there you go. Now you can, go bet that.
Throw a fiver on it.
Hold on. Hard Rock, it's plus 1,000.
There you go.
Throw a fiver at it or a 10. Just see.
Man, yeah.
I think I'm gonna now.
Look, I'm gonna take Michigan to cover 21. It's such a big number.
It's huge.
You gotta hope that defense
in arguably the biggest rivalry in college football. Arguably,
yeah, and it's a game that, you know, even last year when now Michigan head coach Sharon Moore was acting head coach Sharon Moore, it's been Michigan's defense that has changed the entire tone of those last 3 games. Now they had the offense to win the game. I'm not sure that Davis Warren and company are going to quite be equipped for that this Saturday. Would love nothing more than to see that painted hair bitch go down, but probably not going to happen. I'll take Michigan to cover, and I will take the under as well, because if this thing goes over, it's a bad sign. It's a bad sign for the Wolverines. So I will bet with my house's heart here, and take Michigan to cover and the under. Devin has Michigan and the over because screw Ohio State. That's the spirit I like, Devin.
I do like that.
It's bold. It's probably not going to work out. Don't bet money that way.
Don't do meth.
I love this. I love the spirit
in case that's what's happening there.
Yeah, I do love.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I don't. I just.
You smoke crack, don't you?
I love the spirit of it, but
you got to add cocaine's a hell of a drug to that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, let me write that.
I mean, just you can bet 1, 2, 3 of them just in case.
Yep.
Don't do meth. You know crack, don't you?
There we go. Got that added. Joe has Michigan on the points. Ohio State wins and the under. So yeah, I think that's the general consensus. Michigan covers. It's not going to go over. So there you go. That's the best advice we can give you about this game. Besides, don't bet this game. That's all right.
You're going to bet this game. Take our advice, but also go get help.
Unless you're going to do some upset special.
You need help.
There's been a couple weeks this year where I've done 3 or 4 pretty high money line upset picks and do 50 cents that would pay out about $500.
So we're gonna do Oregon State money line. We're gonna do Michigan money line.
Yep.
Texas A&M money line, and we'll probably throw in
Maryland.
Perdone.
Yeah, we could do a Perdone.
That's
in a Maryland. That's a 5 for 25 cents. That'll probably win you about $700 because there's no.
I mean, there's no chance of it happening. But at 25 cents to cash in on that, you're losing money if you don't bet it.
At that point, you're just hoping to get through the first 2 legs and see if there's an early cash out option. Come on, $7.
Remember my 11 leg NHL one the other week. With the leg boost, where it was 11 legs and only one of them out of the first 8 had missed, and Mike just looks at me and goes, "Dude, you need something else to not hit in this bet." And it did. I missed 3 of the 11, but yeah, he would have been he was spot on that if only one of those legs missed, I would have been pretty upset at the 75 cents that I lost. All right, last one. Let's go to it. It's a game we've kind of had circled for a couple of weeks because, hell, it's been the last leg that Matt and I have had to stand on in some arguments. But let's go to it. Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. It is number 3 Texas. They are 10-1, a 5.5-point road favorite at number 20 Texas A&M, who is 8-3. You're over under on this one, 48.5. The ABC college football regular season in prime time starts and stops in the same location. For some of us, let's hope the result is a little bit different than the first time. Mikey B, who you got?
Myself, Ernest, and Kyle will all ride with Matthew McConaughey. All right. Give me Texas and the over. All 3 of us.
All right.
Texas and the over.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened to A&M's defense. Last few weeks they've been giving up quite a bit if you're not counting the New Mexico State game. But doesn't seem like they have the defensive prowess that we're used to with A&M. So give me Texas in the over.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I let's just bash Texas A&M the rest of the way out of this discussion. Let's get them out. Let's get Texas. Give me the Longhorns. All right, and the general rule is always bet the over in a Big 12 game. Don't you, just because they're hiding in the SEC doesn't mean this is not a Big 12 game. These are Big 12 teams playing a Big 12 game. Give me the over.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I mean, A&M lost to
I have neighbors, Mike. I'm in my backyard.
A&M lost to a team at home that lost to Northern Illinois at home. Like, how good can they honestly be?
Trash.
Right?
Student of the Game down is here this week. No, I'm just kidding.
Did I mention three overtimes versus?
Did I mention they play in the SEC? The best conference in football.
Here's the thing, man. This game's really interesting because at times Texas A&M has looked really good. The last couple of weeks they have not. Texas has looked good in all but one game. They've been challenged once this year. So this game really is kind of a crapshoot. And you know, for me, I'm just let chaos fucking reign supreme. Give me Texas A&M to win outright.
Homer.
And just add all the chaos that we can get going into championship weekend next week. Make a week 1 win for us look even better.
Homer.
Than it did before. So yeah, give me Texas and Texas A&M, and hell yes, give me the over because this is still Big 12 football. Let's see. Joe has Texas in the over. Devin
looks like
also.
a duck. It sounds like a duck.
Quack, quack, motherfucker.
Devin also has Texas and the over. So I'm the only bold or stupid one here. So it is what it is.
Is there a more fraudulent win for Texas A&M at home than the LSU game? Because I remember a lot of people came out of that game and they're like, man, A&M gets hot. They could beat Texas. They could play in the SEC title game. They could be a playoff team. They might get a first round, and it's gone.
They forgot one critical part of that.
They had to win football games.
Big game, Brian.
Family.
Hell yeah, he's lost like middle of the road games this year. Which is
middle of the road game, Brian's not much better than big game.
No.
I mean, I think actually, honestly, Mike, to answer your question, the Missouri win at the time for them is probably an even bigger one because everyone was riding Missouri's coattails at that point, and then I mean, they're still to an extent.
I mean, the committee keeps them in the top 25.
No reason why they should be in there, but
no. I was listening to Joel Klatt's podcast reacting to last week's ranking when Missouri had lost and stayed at like a 24, and he just goes, "What the hell are we doing?" Yeah, if you needed any more proof about the committee and their love of the SEC, see Missouri.
We've always questioned whether it's better to lose early or to lose late. LSU showing us that if you play in the right conference, you can lose all over the place. Doesn't really matter. You lose one in the middle, one at the end. They cancel each other out.
Yeah, it just don't matter. If you lose in every month of the season,
there you go.
It just
if LSU loses to Oklahoma this weekend, is Brian Kelly done in the offseason?
I think there's a chance he already is.
If the Athletic and there's other places that have been writing articles this week really talking about his coaching style and how it doesn't really
if he
mesh.
loses another one, that's it.
To steal from Kyle's bit, Jim, play the Lucifer.
But wait, if Oklahoma beats LSU and LSU's ranked, that makes the loss for Alabama look better. Because Oklahoma's now beaten 2 SEC teams.
That's good.
Very true.
Including Alabama, and they're pretty good. So let's make Alabama benefits from the fact that another team beat Alabama. That team beat Alabama. They're good.
It's gotta be pretty good.
That's a good loss.
That's real good. All right, let's move on to the national football league as we go into week 13.
Yeah,
No buys this week. I don't think they're done though. I think they're still like
no. Next week I lose Jaden Daniels in 2 fantasy leagues.
Yeah, they don't do buys Thanksgiving because you have
Dubai. Nobody's playing
Thursday
in Dubai
games.
games.
You have 3 Thursday games and a Friday game. So like you'd have like 2 games on Sunday. Scott Hansen in the saddest edition of the Red Zone channel ever, just talking about 2 games for
We're just gonna go split screen, and I'm gonna start drinking.
He might already just be pantsless by the time it starts.
I'm
I
pantsless right now,
assumed he's pantsless anyway.
and it's freezing.
He should be. I mean, why not? He's behind the desk all game.
I will say this: listening to him, like what he does to his body for those fucking red zone, like, is wild.
Oh, yeah.
I still call BS that he doesn't go to the bathroom.
I mean,
You could easily have a urinal right by. There's a couple times where he goes silent for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
he just hot mics in the bathroom.
I'm going to the bathroom right now.
Either that or he wears a colostomy.
He
Or
needs
like
a-
wears the little pee bag.
Urinal. He just has an empty water bottle.
Like, I mean, you can easily just be sitting there and just like just pee. Like,
Give me one of those empty Colt 45 bottles.
Hey, we're gonna show the.
I'm not saying he's probably never shat himself. Like that's very possible.
We're gonna show the 3 commercials that we need to show for the next 45 seconds, so I can take this piss. Because I swear to God, if Marvin Harrison catches a touchdown right now while I'm trying to take a piss, shit's going everywhere.
Shit's going down. All right, let's take a look. We will start this Thursday, first game of Thanksgiving Day, 12:30 Eastern time on CBS. The 4-7 Chicago Bears travel to 10-1 Detroit, who is a 10.5 point favorite. You're over under 48.5. Detroit looking for their first Thanksgiving Day win since 2016.
I was gonna say, when was there ever a time where Detroit was favored by more than 10 points on Thanksgiving?
I'm sure they'll talk about it on Thursday.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, first looking for their first Thanksgiving win since 2016. Sean, we'll start with you.
Okay, first of all, 10.5 points is a lot of points, but Detroit is that good. Everybody that hops in on defense just seems to just pick up where the other guy left off. They lost another defensive tackle in the midst of all those injuries. They've been without one of their starting corners for 3 of the last 4 games, and I only know that because I start them all in a fantasy league where I have all the lines. Otherwise, I'd have no idea. But the bottom line is the Lions are going to win this. 48.5, I don't necessarily like. They like Williams more than I do. I'm going to take a slight under, but Detroit to roll.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like Detroit minus the 10.5, whatever it was. I just think that they're on a mission this year. Chicago, I'm with you, Sean. They're not that good. I mean, we know they went to OT on a miracle against the Vikings, but they also scored 3 points against the Patriots. So it's truly hard for me to buy into them. But I think Detroit covers the over spread by themselves, honestly. Give me a 49-0 Detroit win on Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Mikey B.
Ernest agrees with Sean with the Lions and the under.
That's not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. Kyle agrees with Matt.
Nothing is over.
Kyle agrees with Matt. Lions in the over. My whole argument here is we talk about how bad the Chicago Bears are. Do we forget that this Lions offense hung 52 points on an NFL defense at some point this year? Lions in the over.
I mean, are the Titans and Jaguars an NFL defense though?
Are the Giants an NFL team?
Not really.
No,
they're not run like one.
That's true.
I don't understand the question.
Not wrong, but I mean, technically,
Saquon Barkley graduated, so they couldn't. He ran out of years of eligibility.
There's an NFL logo spray painted on the field. I have to say that they're an NFL team, but I will say this: at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know that the Lions may not score 48 before the half. There's nothing.
The Bears not have an NFL defense.
They don't.
I mean, They technically do, I guess, because they held Sam Darnold to 20 points, but cool story. You know what Sam Darnold does that Jared Goff, you know what Jared Goff does that Sam Darnold doesn't? He doesn't turn over the football.
Wow.
And Caleb Williams turns it over. Well, I mean, they still won that game, so who gives a shit, right? And at the end of the day, Caleb Williams turns the ball over a lot. The defense may score more points than the Chicago Bears. Lions by 1 million.
That's a lot of points, Mike.
Man.
Fuck them.
That is a disgusting act.
Yeah,
People in Chicago have fans.
Look, I don't want to go as this. Here, I will agree that the Lions can and probably will cover the over by themselves. I'll give it that. I'll let the Bears will score some points. Garbage time points still count.
Yeah, rushing touchdown by Hurricane Ditka.
A point scored. Lions will cover though. Yeah,
Get it to the fridge.
Lions in this one, easy. But yeah, the Bears. No, they stink.
They are who we thought they were.
I need to.
But they are who we thought they were.
See if I can find, and Sean, you may know the reference. There was that like old sports talk show that would always on, like we'd drive around with that, and they played the Bears Still Suck song.
The Bears Still Suck. Yeah,
I gotta find that.
They suck. They really, really
yeah,
suck. Yeah,
it's got to be out there in the universe somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. But all right, let's see. Devin has Lions in the over. All right, next one we go to, still on Thursday. This is the night game, 8:20 Eastern time on NBC. The 5-6 Dolphins looking to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. They travel to Green Bay, who is 8-3, who is a 3-point home favorite. Your over/under on this one is 47. Sean, we'll start with you.
Oh, sorry, I was about to start a YouTube video of the Bears Still Suck. Hold on. It may be the best artist name I've ever seen in my life, though. I got to go back. A song by Happy Schnapps Combo with a picture of the Bears losing to the Green Bay Packers. That's what I'm looking at right now. So I'm pretty excited about that. The Bears Still Suck. There it is. They have a Facebook page.
This is the song.
This can't be it.
No, I don't think this is
How many times must we take this disgrace? Another Bears fan
sounds like the Bears
in our face. The Packers are the greatest team to ever play the game. Even if from time to time they've been a little lame. How could you ever love?
How many verses are there?
Too many.
Porky Pig was as big a him.
We're gonna somehow get a copyright violation.
That's mostly based on luck. The Bears still.
Oh yeah, I think this is it actually.
The Bears still suck.
This is it.
The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. They really, 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 really suck. Yes, the Bears still suck.
Still applies.
Yeah, I might just have to cut out the chorus of that one, but
Yeah, it still applies.
There we go. It's absolutely still applied. Yeah, we heard that song when we were kids, and it's still very appropriate.
Not once has it changed.
No.
I mean, maybe the Packers being great part, that's changed a couple times, but other than that. But anyway, Dolphins, Packers. That's where we are, right?
That is where we are, yes.
I tried to stick a bookmark in it, but I could not do it because it's not a book. Anyway, Dolphins, Packers. I mean, this one has, in my opinion, as far as the games we're picking and a bunch of them, I think this one could be one of the more entertaining games. Dolphins are kind of resurging. Tua looks, concussions or not, mostly like Tua. It'd be nice if he would find Tyreek a couple times instead of Jalen Waddle. But other than that, I think the Dolphins' offense has opened up quite a bit, and Raheem Mostert's career is over. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to give it a run, but I think they're going to fall short. I think I'm going to take Green Bay in this one, even with the 3 points. I'm going to take them to cover that, and 47 seems, in this case, low. I'm going to take the over on this one.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I find it kind of strange that our podcast Facebook page said that this football slate was a bunch of nap time games, and here we are picking two of them. So
To be fair, I could go for a nap right now.
That's also true. I mean, I think on this one you'll be able to nap early. Sorry, Devin. Dolphins are a fun story, but it's at Lambeau.
Oh God, he took the Dolphins too.
Green Bay's got something to go for.
Homer.
Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers -7 alternate spread, and I will take the over on this.
All right, Mikey B.
Ernest and Kyle also have the Packers and the over. Do we know what the weather is going to be in frigid Green Bay around kickoff?
Stand by. Probably cold would be my guess.
That's a good take.
Good bet, Bob.
28 degrees game time weather since it's the night game.
Clear. No chance flurries, but mostly
clear.
There's no snow on the ground. Oh yeah, give me.
Just saying.
Give me Tua Tonka trucks.
That ground's gonna be hard.
Give me Tua Tonka trucks and the Miami Dolphins to destroy the last 6 toes that Ernest has implanted in his 10 toes down in Green Bay. Fuck them. Give me the Dolphins in the over.
Yeah, my God, that still blows me away. That he's holding on to that hope. Devin has Miami in the over. Look,
Homer.
Cute story. You guys have hung around for a couple games since Tua's come back, but this team's not good. When Jonnu Smith is your leading receiver, not great. Give me the Packers.
Who the hell is the Packers leading receiver?
Doesn't matter.
One of the 5.
They don't need a leading receiver.
They have 5 wide receiver twos.
Give me the Packers to win easily. Easily covering that 3, probably covering that alternate 7. I agree with Matt. And I will take a slight over. Slight.
Disrespectful, outlandish, and childrish.
All right, next one we go to Sunday, December 1st, 1:00 Eastern time on Fox. It is the 6-5 Cardinals traveling to the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings, a 3.5-point home favorite. Your over-under on this one, 45.5. Sean.
Oh man, and the Cardinals coming in on some rest here. I was all about just firing the 9-2 and just checking the box, but I don't like it. I think a lot of people question the Vikings. Obviously it's good defense. They're playing really great on the defensive side of the ball, but it's still Sam Darnold. And the Cardinals have played good defense in 3 of their last 4 games. Let's forget about the last one, right? But
no, I think they played pretty good defense. I'm pretty sure the final was 16-6, and there was a defensive touchdown by Seattle.
For 2 or 3 games, they were rolling 3-4 sacks a game. They were really getting at some folks, and I think the young guys on that defensive side of the ball are starting to play. God, just find Marvin Harrison Jr. at least one touchdown, guys. I need him, and I'm picking you, and I'm betting on Kyler Murray, and I don't know why, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Kyler Murray. I'm going to take Kyler Murray to not only cover the 3.5, but to win this game outright, and I'm going to take well over on the 45.5.
All right, Matt.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. I don't really believe in either of these teams, but I think that the Cardinals are more due for a bounce back, whereas the Vikings are still celebrating, letting up.
Kind of waiting. We're waiting for the Vikings to just take one of the kids. It's going to happen.
And it's not going to be a bad loss. I will take the under on this. I see it being like a 21-14 finish.
All right, Mikey B.
With 2 touchdowns to Marvin Harrison Jr.
There you go.
Thanks.
Kyle has the
also works.
Kyle has the Cardinals in the over. Ernest has the Vikings in the over.
He would.
Thank God. That's perfect for me.
I mean, at this point on last week's show, I literally took the Cardinals, and I took the over because they had a guy on their roster named Maserati Marv, and nothing happened. And then I remembered to myself, how can you take the Cardinals in the over? There's a new Call of Duty out. That guy hasn't looked at a play sheet, a rundown, or a defensive assignment in the last 3 weeks. No wonder this offense can't fucking score. Give me the Vikings in the under.
Mazda Miata Marv.
Yeah, man. The NFC West stinks. They were the first division to have a division winner with a losing record go to the playoffs. They might do it again this year. The Cardinals, they were leading the division for a minute. They've had a lot of close games. I know Minnesota has had a couple of bumpy games as of late, but I think at home this week, I think they kind of right the ship themselves.
Wasn't one of those bumpy games to an NFC West team? I think the Rams beat them.
The details, Sean. That was in L.A., wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
It was in LA. Yeah.
See, that's the key. This one in Minnesota. Give me the Vikings to win and to cover, and I will take the slightest of over. All right, last one. We go to it will be Monday nights, 8:15 Eastern time on ESPN. It is the 3-8 Browns. They traveled to a somewhat surprising 7-5 Broncos team, who's a 5.5 point home favorite. Your over under on this one is 42. Sean.
Yeah, I feel like this is one where, pretty much everything I've spoken to people, I'm a big believer in Bo Nix for Rookie of the Year. I'm a big believer in everything the Broncos are doing. If you look at their point differential for the other teams that are around them in record, they match teams that are like 3 wins higher, because they just don't give up a lot of points, and I believe in the Broncos. However, Jameis Winston's rolling into town, and Jameis Winston just spoiled somebody's hopes and dreams on their parlays in a game in the snow, and he's got to prove that it wasn't just the snow. Jameis is going to be out there taking touchdowns like they're crab legs. I'm gonna take Jameis. I'm gonna take Jameis and the Browns. I think they're gonna make a little push here, try to make that AFC North look even better. And okay, especially with 5.5 points, I'll take Jameis on that. He's probably better.
Especially they got that Hard Knocks series coming out. The writers aren't gonna let them cave, right?
Have you seen the NFL Films video of his rushing touchdown in the snow? It's beautiful.
It's wild.
It is a beautiful, beautiful display. And so will this one. Give me Jameis. Turn it on at the halftime. Be like, wow, Jameis threw 4 picks. Why is that? Cross that one off. That's out. 42. This is going over 42, no doubt. Give me Jameis in the over.
All right, Matt.
That is a fun story, but I can't in good
I'm all about
conscience
fun stories right now.
take that, especially after I mocked DJ earlier today for saying that Deshaun Watson would lead the Browns to the playoffs. So it would be even funnier if Jameis wins.
Rightly so.
If Jameis did it.
Just not going to happen. So give me the Broncos. I will take the under on this.
All right, Mikey B.
Unfortunately, Matt, Ernest also took the Broncos in the under.
Damn it.
Against his Browns.
Broncos.
Against his own Browns. Yeah.
Kyle took
the fence sitter sits again.
Yeah. Kyle took the Broncos in the over. In the most random Monday night game I think I've seen in some time, I will take the Denver Broncos because why the fuck not?
They're good.
I mean, I'm going to take them and I'm going to take the over, but I still don't understand how the NFL told themselves Thanksgiving weekend, Deshaun Watson versus Bo Nix. Can't wait.
Right. By the way, Denver Broncos 9th best point differential in the NFL this year.
It's not bad.
No, it's surprising. The Lions, not surprisingly,
wow,
are leading.
So surprised.
Leading that one by plus 177. On the opposite end, Carolina a minus 146 is your
not
is your
great,
worst.
Bob.
And they almost beat the Chiefs.
I was going to say they're only -3 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that makes that look even crazier when you look at it. The optics on that one, not great.
God, he's ruined that word for me.
That's great, Bob.
Yeah, look.
I feel like there's somebody trying to drive through a wall.
We'll get there. Look, we will. The Browns. It was a divisional game. It was in the snow. Ignore everything that happened last week. Okay, just forget about it. This one, Broncos easily cover 5.5. I'll take the over though. I don't, without knowing the weather in Denver, I'm besides cold. I'm gonna say this one is one that the Broncos and Browns can probably score some points. So yeah, I'll take the over on that one. Yeah, Mike, you saw him sneak his way into the studio. He is arriving fashionably late as always. And it is that magical time of the week when we look at our power rankings in the National Football League.
Would you find a middle school park in front of?
Magical.
At least we can hear him this week.
Where's Colin dancing today? No
Kyle this week.
I know. I understand. No dancing. No one's dancing today. Sean, why don't you dance? Do something with something.
You got to be here for more than 30 seconds for any of us to
come on,
break a move for
okay,
you.
Hold on. Wait. Okay, hold on. 28, 29, 30. Okay, now dance now.
You don't get to come in here and ask us to dance. We'll dance if we want to, and clearly
you don't want to do the Trump dance then? No.
Fuck you.
Too soon. Too soon, right?
Fuck you.
Too soon.
All right, let's start with your power rankings with the bottom 5 on the right side of the screen.
All right, so for the bottom 5 here, which is fucking atrocity here, 32 the Giants, 31 the Jaguars, 30 the Jets, 29 the Raiders, 28 the Titans. Again, it's like every week, like you could bring down another 5 teams here, it wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah, I mean 32 is easy. Again, it's the story of the year is just 30 through 28. You can make any argument for a lot of teams. So
I think 30. The Jets are 30 for me more so not just the play on the field, but even the fucking mess with that front office too. On top of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think my bottom 5 is the exact same, except for I have the Raiders and the Jets flipped.
Okay, cool.
I think that's what mine is.
And I think it's solely because the Raiders lost Uncle Rico, and now
that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a great point there. He's out for the year, right? I'm mistaken.
Yeah, he broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I mean,
the bottom for Aiden O'Connell to come back.
Yeah,
there is rumors that Danny Dimes rejected a contract to go play in Las Vegas. By the way.
He wants to go.
Maybe he's not a complete idiot.
No, he wants to go to a team that's actually competitive. I think that was the word. So
cool. So he wants to be a clipboard holder.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what team that's competitive is going to pay Danny Dimes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's the backup situation in Minnesota or there's got to be a couple teams that are in that wild card.
Right.
Because wasn't McCarthy their original too? So maybe.
Right. But I think also
go to the Niners.
Right. Well, that's a great one actually.
Well, they're starting him this week, aren't they?
Purdy is Purdy questionable this week or what?
Well, yeah, but I don't think the Niners are really a playoff contender at this point.
Oh no! The
division's wide open.
NFC West is wide open. Only game back in the division.
I guess.
Back up in Minnesota is Nick Mullins and Brett Rippon.
Oh, Nick Mullins is better than Danny Dimes.
I think Dalen Jones would rather back up a good team than start for a bad team. I think that's
he could probably be the backup in like Tampa behind Baker Mayfield.
I actually did something on this on my podcast on Sunday where I ran through all the teams that have like very unfluid quarterback situations going into next year. Now, obviously, draft position is going to change that in a couple months, and there's a lot more teams than you realize even have a chance to at the very least battle for a spot.
Baker's backup is Kyle Trash.
He's still in the league.
Apparently,
he's Baker's back. He's the only other quarterback.
Yes, I mean,
never played.
So yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, so like I think he would rather go to a team that's actually competing as a backup than go as a starter. I
mean, if you're in that rare position of going from a starter to free agent in week 13, you would absolutely want to go to a team that's sitting in a playoff spot because again, you don't know if a guy's going to go down, and you would have a potential to see the field, and you would much rather see the field for a team that's going to be in the playoffs or possibly going to the playoffs.
Going to be playing. Right.
I think the Niners are probably the best spot for him at this point right now of the teams that realistically are competing that are actually tip and end.
Yeah.
You know,
honestly, the best place for him, in all honesty, and I know they're a fringe playoff contender, and they're probably going to be drawing dead after this week.
Dallas.
Probably Miami behind Tua.
Dallas is not fringe dead, man. They are fucking dead.
They were dead on dead.
They're stupid because they are winning game. But
thank you.
They are dead.
Thank you, Jim, again for Sunday. Appreciate it.
Fuck's sake. All right, EJ, who's your top 10?
All right, number 10. Here we go. Top 10. Number 10, the Broncos. Number 9, the Chargers. 8, Vikings. 7, Steelers. 6, Packers. 5, Ravens. 4, Chiefs. 3, Eagles. 2, Bills. And number 1, the Detroit Lions.
Definitely glad you decided to get the Cardinals out of there. I know they lost.
They made it easy. They made it very easy this week to do that.
The Texans as well. You course corrected getting the Vikings back in there.
I gotta say, kind of tough after you get past 8 or 9. It's kind of hard.
Yeah. I mean, the team that I have at 10, I kind of struggled with, but I couldn't.
I feel there's 11 teams or 12.
I'm taking vibes.
And the bottom 4 don't belong in the top 10.
Right. I'm taking the Broncos based on vibes. They're the surging team of the bunch of the 7-5 teams right now in the mix.
EJ, you'll like my number 10.
Oh, really?
My 10 and 9 are. I think I just flipped them. I think I have the Broncos ahead of the Chargers.
Okay.
You had the Chargers at 8 last week.
Okay.
I had the Chargers at 8 last week. I have them at 10 this week, and I have the Broncos at 9.
Yeah, I think we all may have the same 10 for the most part, I believe.
I will tell you this much.
I would not be surprised because I had no problem picking my 10.
Yeah, I'm not as high on the Packers as everybody else is.
I'm kind of they're a little weird.
Well, my Vikings Packers are I couldn't pick either, but I just was
I actually last night going to sleep, I had Pittsburgh ahead of Green Bay at first, and I just decided to switch the last minute.
And then you remembered you sold all your stock in Green Bay cheddar.
Right. I have to stick with my with the vibes.
The Brown stock is dead.
Sean, you know how this works, buddy. Thank you. But if I'm not mistaken, we all have the same top 10 here. Same 10 teams. I think it's safe to say, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little movement here and there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I put the Broncos ahead of the Chargers because there's a Dobbins injury and they've had some others. There's a lot of question marks coming out of that loss. And
the Chargers got beat up. The Chargers got beat up last night. I know they only lost by a touchdown.
Shit, Jim, we have almost identical, Jim.
But coming out of it, they got beat up a little bit. I mean, all of our top 4s are the same.
Yeah.
Sean,
I moved the Chiefs down this week. I had the Chiefs.
I don't.
That doesn't bother me.
The Ravens as much as everyone else, I guess.
Well, again, it's one of those things where the Ravens are weird. Like they play down competition, they play up to competitions. This week we'll see how that plays out against the Eagles, but they are.
I think I'm making them earn their stripes here. I think it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Ravens at 5 last week. They beat a team who was my number 9, so I couldn't bring them down. But they part of me almost wanted them to jump the Chiefs because that's a bad win for the Chiefs. But I couldn't do it. The Packers over the Steelers for me at 6 and 7 is more granted shitty weather and all of that. But it was more punishing the Steelers for a loss.
I'm the only one who still hates the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think they're just bad, man.
They are
bad, but again, there's 10 teams that now you can consider in the bottom 5, and you wouldn't be wrong.
I wouldn't put the Patriots in there because I look at the teams that are that I have technically, I guess, below them. The Titans gave up 50. They're the only team in the NFL that's given up 50 points on defense. Fuck them. The Jets are a problem because their front office is god awful. Fuck them. The Raiders quarterback purgatory now that Uncle Rico's out. The Jaguars and the Giants both stink out loud. I just at this point I think that
I just hate the Patriots more than the Titans, and you guys just don't agree. That's all it is. Everybody else.
I think I like Drake May more than I do any of the other quarterbacks.
Well, and that's the downside is I feel like Drake May is just pulling them up just enough that it's
I think offensively they're.
But the Titans won a game, so I was like,
no,
out of there for a week.
Right.
I moved them up. They were 31 in mine last week. They're 28 this week.
Yeah, I had them at 32 for me last.
I can't believe the Bengals haven't given up 50.
I feel like the Pats for you a lot more recently biased.
Swiss cheese defense,
baby. Prior to this week, they were playing competitive football.
Submarine out there, dive.
Well, Sean, prior to this week, the Pats were playing competitive football before this week. So
yeah, the Pats have looked, but it's like they're
Well,
winning
they
sloppy
even had a
games.
minute or two, a little bit this week against the Dolphins where they made it a close game, and then the Dolphins were able to pull away in the fourth quarter. So like the Patriots is as bad as that line as that roster kind of is, especially on the defensive side of the football. Like offensively, they're making a lot out of very little.
I agree.
And not that I'm really looking beyond, beyond now looking for, but like they've actually shown like shades of
totally agree with you.
Like some bright signs. Whereas you look at the Jets, Raiders, Jags, Giants, the lights are off.
I mean,
Nobody's
Jim.
home.
Jim, to your point, like if I look at these rosters like just blindly looking at records,
but see, that was why I took the Titans off, because they showed up.
Right, the Pats might have the worst roster in the league, and yet they're
they're
doing more with less than these bottom teams. So to your point, I agree with you.
But that's why they're 31 from it.
They also split. They also split with the Jets in the game that they won. Jacoby Brissett played quarterback, and he's fucking terrible.
Yep. Yep.
Not good.
But yeah, I think we're really kind of just seeing, and it was going to be my other. What did we learn? Is I think we're just really starting to see the contenders just starting to separate themselves, because to me, top three was easy. Top three was easy this week. Lions, Bills, Eagles, super easy. I started to have a little bit of questions when I'm looking at, should it be the Ravens or the Chiefs, and then should it be the Packers or the Steelers, should it be the Vikings, Broncos, and then I didn't necessarily like the Chargers at 10, but who's going to go in there? Exactly. I had the Commanders at 10 last week. They just lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah. No, there was no one else.
There's nobody else to put in there. And like the Chargers, again, a little concerned about some of the injuries, but they hung in there against a good team. So they're still, to me, in that top 10. But the contenders, the contenders are there, and then there's everybody else, and then like the bottom five again. We can. I feel like we argued more about who should be in that bottom five because there's so much bad football, and even to the slate of games that we picked for this week. Like this is the second week where there's just so many bad games in the NFL, because there's just a lot of bad, beat up, whatever adjective you want to give them. There's a lot of bad football out there in the NFL this year. So
I would like to state for the record, thank you for not making me pick fucking Steelers Bengals this week. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that to you. It's a holiday.
I appreciate that, because I was going to have to sit here and listen to fucking Ernest talk about how great Russell Wilson is, even though he's played like dog shit for the last 3 games.
But yeah,
you're going too long, brother.
I'm aware.
like honestly, for me, I'm looking at this and I'm going, there for the rest of the year, given barring injury or whatever, I feel like there's probably going to be very little movement
shouldn't be much.
top 4 in that middle group. The bottom 5 is probably where you're going to see the shift, because if the Jaguars win a game, they're gonna move up.
Then somebody else falls in.
Right. So then the Cowboys go back in.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim, I had a small idea of putting the Bucks consideration for top 10 also too.
They're not even winning their division right now.
Right, like I promoted the Cowboys. I couldn't not promote the Titans.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys won a division game, so did the Titans.
Man, the Bucks are like the best 5 and 6 team in the National Football.
But to be honest, they would be better if they were so banged up. You know what I'm saying? They lost 2 games to the
Buccaneers
2 Super Bowl teams last year. They're a very good team. That's what I'm saying. And 2 of the losses against the 2 Super Bowl teams last year, they lost on the last possession of the game.
Their defense isn't great though.
Right, without their
they also haven't had Godwin and fucking
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans
played
exactly. So
Mike Evans played last week.
I think the Bucks will win this division, to be honest with you.
Well, if Kyle was here, he would tell you the Falcons still have a shot if Michael Penix.
Yes, I would also agree that the Buccaneers.
What was that, Mike?
If Kyle was here, he would say that the Falcons still have a shot if they would just make the change to Michael Penix Jr.
True.
Yeah.
Got to make that change.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons have
derailed.
They have an interesting game this week against the Chargers, but then and then the Vikings next week, and then they close with Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. So there's winnable games for them, but if you lose this week to the Chargers, next week to the Vikings. Like,
Yeah, you got to go 4-0.
that's a conversation that the Falcons are going to have.
Yeah, that's a sneaky big game this weekend. Actually, I know the Ravens Eagles get all the pub this week, obviously, and rightly so. But that Falcons Chargers game is sneaky big.
Mm-hmm.
For both teams, really.
Honestly,
for both teams, really. Go ahead.
It's funny because that Eagles Ravens game, they're going to sell Hurts versus Lamar, but it's obvious that
exactly.
It's obvious that it's a battle of the running backs. Like, Henry versus Saquon is way more
without question
fun for a real football fan to watch. It's not as flashy, but nothing about Derrick Henry is.
Like had the Eagles not played on Sunday night this past week, like this game should have been flexed in
easily.
This should be a primetime game.
And only that, you got three of the MVP candidates right now in this game in the same field.
Yeah,
Battle of the Birds, right down the East Coast. It's like there's nothing not sellable about this game.
I mean, here's the thing: at the beginning of the year, this week's Sunday night game, Niners at Bills, looked like a great game to have on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
If they're healthier by Sunday, maybe it could still.
No, stop.
Who's out? Who's out? That
doesn't
week,
matter.
I mean, they're still out.
Ayuk's out.
There's no healthy receivers on either team.
Trent Williams.
No one's playing wide receiver. Ricky Pearsall, who got shot, is the healthiest wide receiver in this game.
Jesus.
He's the healthiest wide receiver on either team.
Starting to
round the form a little bit. Yeah. Sean, I'm trying to sell here, man. Let me sell.
That Niners game, screw the Niners.
Well, and
it's George Kittle and a bunch of just broken down.
So it's cool. McCaffrey's starting to heat up. Let's see, Sunday night chances of snow
and
showers.
By starting to heat up, you mean finally not dead? Is that pretty much?
Yeah, chances of snow showers, mostly cloudy, low around 25. Cool. Tell me how that Achilles is going to feel.
It's going to feel real good.
Right,
stretch.
But yeah, this one fairly easy. No real problems across the board.
Ravens Eagles possible Super Bowl preview. Possible. Just saying. It's on the board.
Lions would like a word, please.
No. I mean, I'm picking a line to go. I'm just saying
bet
that
the Bills.
All right. Any other thoughts on the power rank?
I think we're all in pretty good.
Everything.
It was fun to nitpick, but I mean, Christ, look at the list.
I think the 10 teams themselves have kind of figured it out. Now, is there a fringe 11, 12 possibly?
Yeah, they'll float in.
But I think
I don't love the Steelers, Broncos, or Chargers. They could all just float around and go in and out.
That's what I'm saying.
Denver's about trust and one thing else. Is long-term trust is the question with Denver. But
it's also like the conversation with the Steelers is Russell Wilson going to play serviceable quarterback?
Right.
I mean, I think there's questions for every team from probably 6 down. I mean, Minnesota, it's Sam Darnold.
You could have teams like Arizona go on if they went on a short run, they could sneak in. There's there's a handful of those just over 500 teams that'll probably shuffle in as other teams lose. But I don't think your top 5 is going to move unless something.
The Texans were on mine's entire year, but they've underwhelmed the entire season
at some point.
And they will because of the environment, but they've underwhelmed the entire year though. And 7-5 now.
They've underwhelmed, but let's look at the shit they've gone through. You have arguably the number 1 wide receiver in football yardage wise. Then he gets hurt. Then Diggs gets hurt. Then Nico comes back, but he's still not healthy. I mean, they're losing games that they shouldn't. Their defense isn't as good as it's been the last year and a half or so. I mean, the reality of the situation is the offense, CJ Stroud, sophomore slump, but it's also the defense is giving up more points, so that means that he's got to go out there and put up better numbers than he did last year to give him a shot to win.
It's hard to throw to a different wide receiver core every week when you're shuffling Tank Dell's
Tank Dell's your wide receiver 1 for 6 weeks. That's
he didn't play all 6 of them. There was a couple games where he didn't even have Dell.
He was dinged up too.
So it's been a tough road for Stroud.
Their blessing is that they play in the AFC South.
But he looked good in the loss this week for the most part, minus some mistakes. The week before looked better. I think Nico helps a lot.
Yeah,
and I think they'll be fine in the long run.
Yeah.
All right, let's close out the show as we do each and
Close
every
it
week.
out.
We look ahead to the weekend that will be, and one thing that will happen.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, Mikey B, we'll start with you. What's going to happen this weekend?
Thankfully, you didn't make me pick it, but I am going to pick it. Joe Burrow throws for 300 plus 3 touchdowns, and the demise of Russell Carrington Wilson becomes more apparent. Give me the Bengals to be victorious.
Lock it up.
What a hater.
Homer. The word is Homer.
Makes you want to pick the Bengals to throw for 400 yards and lose.
He did it last week against bye week.
It's happened. Could happen. It's happened before, or at least close to it.
EJ, what is
5 touchdowns and an L?
EJ, what's going to happen this weekend?
My lock for this. Say it again.
Don't be lame.
Oh, come on. I've been good this about this kind of stuff. What's wrong with you? Come on. No, my lock this week is going to be that the Eagles' bubbles burst finally this week. The Ravens will win, and it will win going away.
Lock it up.
All right, Matt, what will happen this weekend?
Yeah, one team in the top 4 of the college playoff rankings will lose.
Lock it up.
I like that. I like it. Sean, what will happen this weekend?
Texas plays at AM. Oh, interesting.
What happened this week? I'd love to put a Saquon Barkley rushing for another 250 yards, but it's not going to happen. However, AJ Brown will challenge, if not beat, the Eagles' single game passing receiving record. The Ravens' pass defense is terrible, and they're going to sell us on running backs, and neither are going to do anything. Saquon will beat out Derrick Henry today. You can lock that one up too. Saquon will have more yards than Derrick Henry, but I'm going to take AJ Brown to lead the charge in that game in Baltimore, and you're wrong. The Eagles are going to win that game. And I'll go by more than 7.
Homer. Thank you, Jim.
All right. Devin has his lock of the week. The Dolphins will be eating a turkey leg at the end of the game.
Homer.
Okay. Matt, the reason I stayed a little quiet earlier,
even if they lose, there's going to be a lot of turkey.
When you softly threw this one out, because following another loss this season, this time to the Oklahoma Sooners, Brian Kelly will be fired by LSU on Monday.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep, that is
Bold. You're not a hater.
That is my lock.
Sorry, I had to pull the Kyle line. My bad.
I mean, facts don't care about feelings, right? That's what we're
Family.
told to believe. It's tough love in this family.
Allegedly.
Where's he going to coach next year?
The Dallas Cowboys.
No. Didn't you see today Jerry Jones is talking about bringing Mike McCarthy back?
Are you serious?
Yeah. But, and like, honest to God, though, like multiple people sent it to me today. But even Mrs. Big Jim said to me this evening when she saw it, she goes, "Did you see this? Jerry lose his mind?" I go, "What's it matter?" It honest to God, it just doesn't matter who the coach is.
Broken now,
right? Okay, cool. Fire him. Like a couple weeks ago, and everyone's like, "Oh, is McCarthy gonna get fired this week?" I'm like, "What's that gonna do?" They're not. It's not gonna make the team better. Who's going to lead it? Brian Schottenheimer? Mike Zimmer? Cool. Put one of those guys as head coach. That ain't going to make a difference. Bring Mike McCarthy back. It doesn't matter. As long as Jerry keeps running this team into the ground, it's just it ain't going to make a difference. So
yeah, until you fix the defense and get more suited in the running back position, it's going to suck no matter who the hell.
Yeah, it doesn't Mike McCarthy, fucking Barry Switzer, the ghost of fucking
I'm going through the same
Lombardi.
thing.
It doesn't matter.
I'm going through the same thing you are, because I'm on Cincinnati social media and everybody's fire Zach Taylor, fire Lou Anarumo. Last time I checked, Lou Anarumo can't play linebacker. Zach Taylor can't play offensive line and keep Joe Burrow protected. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to address the issues of player ability more than no, Zach Taylor shouldn't be fired. What the fuck are we doing?
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going on a crusade to be like Mike McCarthy should or shouldn't be brought back. Honestly, it just doesn't matter either way. But it's cool, you bring him back. He's not a horrible coach. it's a horrible team. It's a horrible situation. It's not McCarthy's fault. But all right. Anything else, guys? Before we close it up for Thanksgiving,
I'm good.
Gobble
right.
gobble.
Let's wrap it up. Sean, plug away.
All right. For the record, to hit that single game receiving yard, A.J. Brown's gonna have to approach 200 yards. At 204, he would be in the top 5. But anyway, let's go for it. 205 yards. But I am at Sunshine State. We're down here in Tampa Bay in the Sunshine State, but we've renamed it since I've moved here. And yeah, I don't have much else as far as where you can find me, but you can always find me here on Huddle Up, and you can find me pretty much riding EJ the whole way through social media.
Very good, Matt.
Thanks, buddy.
You can follow me at Teaching to the Choir across all platforms, including Blue Sky. You can catch me on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 3CT podcast, Mondays on the Maximize Monday podcast.
All right, EJ?
EJ Christian 7 on, thank you, Matt, for reminding me, Blue Sky, as well as Twitter. Ernest Christian Podcast across all podcast catchers, YouTube page at youtube.com/Ernest Christian. And fellas, have a happy Thanksgiving with your families, and see you guys next week.
You too, EJ.
Yes, sir.
Mikey.
Family.
I'm not hip. I don't have Blue Sky because I'm fat, lazy, and don't feel like fucking around with another social media at the moment. You can follow me on Twitter at TheyCallMeBurn. You can listen to me on the Take 3 Wrestling podcast with Big Jim and our good friend Joe. Thanksgiving episode. We're going to preview War Games, so that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, to all of you out there listening, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for letting us into your home this season. It's been a lot of fun. I know we're the 6 cousins that argue at the Thanksgiving table over everything and anything that they could think of. So we appreciate you guys letting us argue in front of you guys. It's a lot of fun. We'll be back for the red of the slate. So we love you.
Yeah, you can get me at Big Jim Sports over there on Blue Sky. You can get Kyle at the SOTG on Twitter and Student of the Game on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. He does have a link tree on his Twitter at least. So go hit that. Follow all of the stuff that Student of the Game Kyle Nash is doing. We hope he has a great holiday with his extended family there, which is why he is off the show this week. But you can, of course, follow the show on all of our platforms and social channels. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We are on Twitch each and every week at Huddle Up Inc. You can get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all podcast platforms. Rate and review where you can. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and share everything with you folks. Again, I want to echo everything from the guys. We appreciate you supporting us. The YouTube channel's been growing, getting a lot of positive feedback this year, so we certainly do appreciate all of that. We hope you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. We will be back next week, first week of December, as we talk about the college football playoff rankings, conference championships, another week in the NFL. But until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.